Hey, it's John Doe. It's the 23rd of February 2026, and this week John Doe says there's a CLSM album called Into Outer Space, so I'm going to quickly go through some of these tracks, but out of this I think I'm going to go through in the wrong order and skip a few, because Into Outer Space has been out a few weeks, Stab Parade's been out already, and look, it's on 90, oh you can't see that, it's on 97,000 streams already. Higher Love with Maddie Lucas was out on the release date a couple of days ago, and this brings us to the very exciting Das Boot. Das Boot was a chart single when I was little. Let's see if I can find that. Can I edit this down so that I find it really quickly? I can't find Das Boot, but U96 did Das Boot. Das Boot was a film about German subs, and when I was at school this was a thing, and then there was the rave version of it. So it's actually written by, let's see if it's correctly titled here. So always get the correct, so it's written by Klaus Doldinger. It's written by Klaus Doldinger. And then I have remixed, well, I've redone it. Now, when the original Das Boot was out, it had these robotic voices in it. So I found a VST which does those. So this does all of the things that I want it to, and it's got old school sounds in it from a Korg M1. Let's find out what this sounds like. That's the wrong track. Here's Das Boot. Let's find the right part. The Camrys is just where my mouse goes at the moment. This is how the theme went. And then there's the strings and the people speak. I really liked Ben Sage Sleepless VIP, which had these sort of violent beats over nice music, so this is a kind of a nod to that. Cool. So this does Das Boot. Night Energy is written by Effie about 14 years ago, and I did a track and it came out on clear, like one of those lathe cut things, in about 2014, 2013, maybe 2017. I can't remember. Yeah, so I think I made it in 2014. And maybe the lathe cut is like 2017, 2018. And it came with a calendar and a t-shirt. So there's quite a lot of stuff you got for something like £30 coming up to Christmas. Anyway, here it is. Just trying to get to the piano. I'm looking past the camera to see where it is. And it has this great riff in it. Let's hear the great riff. I like that sort of thing, and it's a sort of hardcore I can put up with. Rush is by Dean Anthony and David Hunt, and David Hunt's doing the singing. He's actually a bass player who's working with Dean Anthony in 2011. I never got round to remixing the track. This is actually the remix of Rush by Dean Anthony, but it's credited as if it's an original, which is not true. Then It's True, CLSM, Aislinn, Shannon B. Shannon B is a singer in Southampton. Aislinn makes lots of great drum and bass stuff. He's got some great bootlegs. Want Your Body was out earlier, so that's got some numbers next to it. Hardcore Vibes was out a little while ago. You Get Me with Tengu was out a little while ago. Mother's Mother's Mother is on the Blue Goat album and has been remixed for this, and the fun bit goes later on where I've kept things running around in the background, like her vocal looping around. So I'm going to try and find that bit and show you. Check me now. If you're listening in stereo, one of your ears has got the first bit repeating. And now in the other speaker is another bit of vocal looping round while the singing goes on over the top. Cool. I heard that originally, her original track on a YouTube short, and I wrote to her and said, could we do a version of this? And she said yes, so we did. And that's another new version of that. Chill Tip was my first ever release with The Outsider in 1995 on a white label. I've remixed them. It's on this album. I Get the Energy is brand new. Be OK has been out for a while. Features Damus from Jamaica. And Find Some Time, which we performed at the last album launch 2 years ago, but it wasn't on that album, so it's turned up on this album. And then that only leaves the 3 first tracks, Into Outer Space, which is the lead sort of track of the album, and Stab Parade, which is obviously a bit like Love Parade, except more knifey, and then High Love with Maddie Lucas. Now, I'm making a video for this at the moment, which will be finished at some point, but there have been some distractions in the last couple of weeks. You know, in life, I'm trying not to be upset or angry about these things. There's things which are bound to happen. So when we're little, we have parents and grandparents, and the grandparents disappear, and then your parents become the grandparents, don't they? That sort of age. And then sadly, we're coming to a time where going through that sort of stage where people are getting more elderly and having issues. So just going through a bit of a absolutely mad week. If you went back, what's today? Monday. If you go back a week and 2 days in the daytime, kind of everything's fine. And then just on that Saturday night, everything sort of started to blow up in our little family world. So, I know when you hear these things, you go, oh, poor you, but this is life. We go through life, and this is one of those stressful, down moments, and we have to accept them as part of life and not go, oh no, this. I sort of walk along and say, thank you, God, for this family member and all they've done for them, for us, and what can we do for them in this sort of end era. So I hope if you get in this situation, you can think, hold on, what are the positives? This is inevitable and it's life, you know, just to kind of keep your, I was going to say resolve up. Keep your energy levels up rather than just sit there crying in the corner. I have done a bit of crying, but not in a corner. So anyway, I hope you have a great week. Oh, don't go yet. There's actually something else which happened. So this track came out, which was High Love with Maddie Lucas, and the album came out on the same day. But over in my other group that I'm in 4, we had a release out called Off the Ground. Now, this is sung by Cora Wong, written Wang. And there was a video I put up of going into a place in Southampton called Planet Sounds Recording the other week, where she's recording the Chinese version of this record. On the same day, we recorded the English and the Chinese version. Now, they are not versions because this one's called Off the Ground and the other one's called Chinese title. It's a completely different record. It's the same record, but rewritten in Chinese. And when I wrote it very simply so that it could be converted into another language simply, so it wasn't too complicated. And when I did the second record, that's similar in the simple writing style, and the lyrics she wrote for it were so brilliant. I shall let you in on those. It's like talking about a small boat that goes into the harbour and stuff. It's incredible. But this is off the ground, and I honestly have to say that this is possibly my favourite thing that I've ever written and produced. And it started out as going to be a CLSM thing, but because we have an album and a single on the same day, this has to be for and Cora, not for Cora and CLSM. But it's really a CLSM record. Oh. I'm playing the wrong record. Here's the right record. What's more disconcerting is there is a little video with Cora and also Gavin and Aki from 4 in it, not me. When I fall apart, will you be there? When you need me, I will be around. I think for the algorithm, I either have to stop it or do something else, because otherwise if I play you more than 30 seconds, it'll eat my phone bill. And if I need a moment, hold my hand, lift me now right off the ground. But in my mind, the intro vocal and chords sound really good. The vocal's really good when it gets going. This is a great trance riff. And then when the beat drops, it's also got the best beats and bass suitable for this record. So for me, it's an overall win. And this is a synth. Which goes into a harmony. So when it hits originally, it hits a bit like the vocal does at the start. So you think, oh, there's a vocal, and then you realise it's a waspy sort of synth which goes around. And then there's this guy in trance called, I'll probably get his name wrong, Giovanni. Is he called Giovanni? Ottiavani. I'm going to get his name wrong. Ottiavani is his surname. And when he wrote a thing called... what is it called? Anyway, it's out in 2017. Might be called Firefly. Yes, I think it is. He wrote that. He writes this riff and it's amazing. And as it rises up, he then just goes up a fifth and follows the riff a fifth up. And he did a live thing recently where he's playing a new tune with a similar kind of riff. And he used the same trick. I just thought, this is awesome. So at the end of my waspy synth, just one note joins in with it. One of those things no one will care about, but I care about very much. Anyway, hope you have a great week, and I shall do I'll put these in the drum and bass chart of my own making.